Welcome to the Friday Game Night season finale pick'em show here on AccessWDUN.com. Bo Wilson alongside Jeff, Caleb, Walker, Tucker, and Seth, our producer, Chapman.
Good to be back, by the way.
Yes, Caleb back in studio this week. If you hear him go off the microphone in just a minute, it's because he's hacking up his other lung. Welcome back, Caleb.
I'm glad to be back. I'm at about 94%.
That's all?
The remaining 6% is the cough, unfortunately, which means I can't laugh because when I start laughing, I start just hacking all over creation. So
this is going to be the most serious show we've done all year.
Yeah, no, this is
so
Caleb,
we can't laugh today.
This is Caleb on his best behavior.
I'll wait to see that.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
I will. I'm waiting to see that.
Yeah, I don't buy that either.
I'm waiting to
Good
see
luck,
anybody on their best behavior on this show.
Always on my best behavior.
That is a
What
lie.
are you talking about?
Well, here's the thing. He's telling the truth because that is his best behavior.
Yeah, okay.
Easy
fair
now.
enough. I'll give you fair enough.
Hey,
Hi.
football season is over.
Is it?
It is?
High school football season. Well, college
It will be
football is
after
almost-
tonight.
Yeah,
Tonight it
after
will be.
tonight,
It's
it's
not
going to
over
be
yet.
over. And
Well, there are
It's
games
been
on
going
Saturday.
on.
There are
Yeah,
games
there
on
are
there are
games
games on
Saturday.
Saturday.
You
That's
get an
right.
extra day.
Yeah,
As,
this
as
7
they
8, yeah.
say, the fat lady is warming up.
Mill Creek and Carrollton's going to be a great game.
It's going to be an awesome game.
I don't think so.
Really.
I still think Mill Creek is
Yeah,
your next 7A state champs.
yeah, I think so.
And I know Dan Kiley just got really excited if he's watching the
he
show.
probably just wrecked the car.
Yes, he probably did. Yeah. So, anyway, but the big game in town.
Yeah. Listen, I'm going to tell you, Dan Coyote has been, as excited as he's gotten.
Let's push that microphone a bit
Again,
closer to you.
should
there,
I just
Jeff.
put it in my
You're
shirt
supposed to
or
talk-
what?
You're supposed to talk
You're
into
supposed to
that so
talk
they can-
into the
Into
mic,
the mic.
Jeff.
Yeah.
Into the mic. Hello.
Yeah, hey, Jeff.
I've just been laying
Jeff.
back, letting him go.
Jeff,
this
talk
whole
into the
show.
microphone, please.
What?
Jeff. Yeah.
What?
Okay, go ahead.
Are there still have people shown up yet?
No.
Best behavior.
We get paid for this, by the way.
That is
Best
true.
behavior.
That is
We are
true.
on best
No,
behavior.
He has, he's been rather subdued. I've been in the press
Who is
box,
he?
Dan Coyote.
Oh, I forgot.
I've been in the press box like the entire playoffs with him during our run with Gainesville. He's hardly mentioned Mill Creek. I've been waiting for him to kind of explode, and he hasn't really said much at all. So I don't know what's going to happen this week.
He was texting me a good bit during the North Cobb game back in the second round.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Okay. And while he was on the air.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
yeah.
interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe that's why that game suffered a little bit.
Hey, we got a full slate, though, of high school championship games, on tap, and perhaps the biggest one for us. Well, it is the biggest one. The Gainesville,
perhaps.
Yeah, Gainesville Hughes game, Class 6A championship, guys. Gainesville has kind of roared through the playoffs, with offense, bend but don't break defense, special teams. And we saw that against Roswell.
Oh, yeah.
We saw that against Houston County. We've seen the spurts the offense can go on. We've seen the defense do what they can do, and we've seen some kickoff and punt returns for touchdowns.
Yeah, you've gotten a little bit of everything, which is what you need when you want to make a run like this. I mean, the offense is, it came into the playoffs averaging about 37, 38 points a game. They've averaged 44 in the playoffs. The defense has given up points. But when you look at how they've given up the points and at what point in the game, last week against Roswell ran 12 plays inside the 20-yard line in the last 7 or 8 minutes of the game and came away empty. So, you need your defense to rise up when it matters, and they did. They had the huge second down loss, and that forced them to have to throw into the end zone, and the secondary was up to the challenge to be able to keep Roswell out of the end zone for a potential game-tying touchdown. And then you look at the special teams and what they're able to do, and you got two guys. You got Trey Reese, you got Darius Cannon that both have return kicks for touchdowns this year. And that's probably going to be my stat of the week when we really get into this game is the special teams. I don't
see any reason we can't do it now.
Just roll it.
Well, then let's just roll right with it.
Here we go.
Here's some things you need to know.
It's Jeff Hart's interesting stat of the show.
All right, I always love that jingle. It's still in my head, by the way. The special teams, I think, is where the game can be won or lost for Gainesville. The offenses, they're both explosive. The defenses are outstanding. Gainesville really has an edge in the special teams, in my opinion, particularly in the run game. The return game, they're averaging 48 yards a return on kickoffs. I mean, you're talking half the field when they're able to touch the ball. So if you have a short field, you should be able to put some points on the board. Hughes has trouble. They've been giving up long kickoff returns. During the playoffs, during the season, North Forsyth almost ran 2 back in their game. Now, they got 11 kickoff returns in that game because Hughes scored 77 points. So that's you're probably gonna. The law of averages says you're probably gonna return one when you get that many. And their kicking game is shaky. We saw that last year against Buford. They missed an extra point that cost them the game. They had that short field goal that was blocked at the end of the game. I think this is where Gainesville can win the game if they can keep the game close. If they can get a return, something to set something up late in the game, something like. I think this is where it can be won or lost. I think I'm not putting it squarely on, say, Darius Cannon Shoulders or Trey Reese or John White, any of the specialty players. But I think they have an opportunity to really put a stamp on this thing and give Gainesville a really good chance to win this game. I think if it just turns into an offensive-defensive game, Gainesville is probably.
So what's the stat?
The stat, 48 yards of kickoff return. Punt returns are averaging like 12 or 13 yards of punt return. So anytime they get a kick, they have a chance to do some damage. And I think that's the key to the game is a special team.
Can we roll?
Before we do that, I think the larger point about Gainesville and the reason why I think even though Hughes has just rolled up on everybody they've played, I mean, there have not been many competitive football games involving Langston Hughes this year. They're number 1 in 6A for a reason. The reason I think Gainesville can hang around in this game, Gainesville is extremely explosive and extremely opportunistic. They are not a steady machine on offense that's just going to go out and do the same thing to you over and over again. They can go in lulls offensively. and they've gone in lulls offensively against not great defenses, but they're so explosive. And they've got so many different guys that there is never a point in the game where they cannot go to the end zone on that snap of the football. Never a point in a football game. Naeem Cheeks is so explosive. Trey Reese, Baxter Wright himself with his own legs. They've got so many guys that can beat you from so many spots in the field, and that obviously applies to the kick return game as well. That is why they are a nightmare to defend, because you can do a great job defending them for 3 straight drives, and then all of a sudden you look up and they've just scored 21 points, and you're like, what happened? It all happened on 5 plays or something like that.
Right.
That's
they
like
are so – I don't think I've ever seen an offense with more quick strike ability than this Gainesville offense.
Yeah, and when you take a look at Hughes and you start going down the roster and you see their stats and you see their 3, 4, and 5 stars, like you're saying on the flip side of it, then you've got a bunch of playmakers on Gainesville's side when you talk about their offense. So, to count them out, I don't think that's a good idea, because even though Hughes is like talking to Coach Niblett earlier this week, he goes, look, you know how good they are. I know how good they are. They're probably the best team in Class 6A. They're probably, in all classifications, not just 6A. He says, we know exactly what Hughes is. He said, we just have to go execute. We have to go play our game, take care of ourselves. So, we're going to find out if that happens tonight. But, Gainesville has their playmakers on both sides of the ball. So, going to be interesting. And one thing that kind of comes to my mind, could this end up being a shootout?
I think it's going to be a shootout. I'll say it straight up. I think it's going to be a shootout. Langston Hughes is too good offensively to not get some points somewhere. And Gainesville defensively, they have been the defense that has gotten the key stops in the playoffs. They have not been the defense that just hasn't given up points in them. They've given up some points in the playoffs. I think Hughes will get some points on the board. But I think Gainesville will score too, because of what I just said. There's too many opportunities over the course of the football game where Darius Cannon's going to have the ball in open space. Naeem Cheeks is going to have the ball in open space. Trey Reese is going to have the ball in open space. It's going to happen too many times for them not to bust the big play on you. I can remember calling the Jefferson-Marist state title game a few years back. Marist defense completely dominated Jefferson, but there was still a point in that second quarter where all of a sudden Jefferson hit some big plays. Why did they hit big plays? Marist was so good defensively. Because they had too many. It's high school football, and they had too many elite athletes for them to not pop one on you, no matter how good you are defensively. And I think that's going to happen in this game. Gainesville's going to hit some big plays over the course of this ball game because they have too many outstanding players on the perimeter not to.
All right, guys, we are going to save the pick for the end of the show on the Gainesville game.
Oh, building up drama.
First,
Wait, wait, we haven't gotten Walker's take
First
on this
off,
yet.
I want to throw it over to our worldwide studios where Walker McQuarrie is sitting. Walker, what's your
I was
take?
about to say, like, we need to let Walker talk a little bit.
It's fine. I'm just sitting back trying to formulate a proposal for you guys to at least have an opportunity to win the playoff standings. And I think I've come up with one. I'll save my analysis on Gainesville Hughes until the end. If I get all 8 state title games right and pick them correctly against the spread, do I win?
No.
No.
Absolutely not.
That's 16 different things that I have to get right.
No.
This is
You
not.
don't want to take that, like, that's almost impossible.
So do you feel that confident?
No, but I just want to have a chance to win.
What
I just want to have a chance to win, you know?
Wait a second, though, because I'm not willing to give you the playoff victory, but let's turn it over to Seth here, because, Seth, would you be willing to wager your regular season crown against that?
Ooh. No.
Really? No. I tried to help you, Walker.
So there's really no point in me making picks then, because there's no way I can come back. I'm trying to build a little bit of
so now you're quitting on us, huh?
Now you know how
not
I
quitting.
felt. Now you know how I felt.
Is
the
there a
last 3
point
weeks
in
of the regular
Vanderbilt
season.
and Missouri playing to finish out the SEC schedule? I mean, you answer that question, you'll know the answer to your question.
I was just trying to think of a way to make this to make it at least exciting, because outside of you four in the studio, I'm having to pick these games.
Look, here's
I
what
think
here's
it is
what
exciting.
Here's what I'll do for you.
Caleb, and Seth are within one game. This is incredibly.
That's what I'm
exciting.
saying. It's exciting there, but like for me, like there's I'm
Here's
way out.
Here's
of it
what
at
we
this
can
point.
do for you. We can take that bet and we'll name you co champion.
I want to have a chance to have the champion word by my name. And it's not going to happen. I'm not going to get all 16 right, but at least give me the chance, you know?
You know you can go pick you up a champion sweatshirt.
I could. Well, that's a good one. That's good.
I hear there's
Caleb,
several
I'll
on
take
sale
your
down at
World's
Central
Dumbest
Florida.
Human title from you, and I'll place it upon Bo.
I appreciate that.
That's what I'll do for you there,
He's
Bo.
just wanting champion on his name so he could wear a champion shirt.
If you didn't hear that, Central Florida has plenty of those from like their 2017 season when they went undefeated.
All right, well, let's go with it. Let's do hypothetical champion by your name.
Sure.
Okay.
I can take that.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick all the games against the spread. I've decided that either way.
Oh,
so.
okay.
All right, well, let's start with Class 2A. Fitzgerald and Thompson.
Fitzgerald is the defending AA champ. They have just simply been too good all season long. I am taking Fitzgerald, and I feel pretty good about it.
I also am taking Fitzgerald. I've seen that team play in person several times. That's a juggernaut.
They
program.
are big. There might not be a bigger program size wise in AA or single.
Right. Oh, you're absolutely right.
state.
They are big. Every time I've seen them, that's the thing.
They've got the size of a 5 or 6A school.
Right. I'm taking Fitzgerald.
I'll go Fitzgerald as well.
Yeah, I'm going to take Fitzgerald to win, cover the 3 points. I think Thompson can keep it close for the first half, but Fitzgerald pulls away and covers.
Might as well just jump on your coattails, Fitzgerald. Cedartown and Benedictine. I think I'm going to go with Cedartown in this one.
I'm taking Benedictine. Benedictine is nasty offensively. They've got a lot of receivers and a lot of different ways they can beat you offensively. I had a chance to see them in person just a couple of years ago, and they've still got a lot of that core together from that team 2 years ago. And, won the state title a year ago. I'm taking them to do it again. I got Benedictine.
I'll hop on there with Caleb in the repeat.
I think that the way that Cedartown beat North Oconee last week and their balanced attack that North Oconee took up there, I like Cedartown to win this game, and I'll take them to cover. Why not?
Okay. I'm going to take Benedictine. I just think they have the experience of being there. Cedartown, I can't remember the last time they've been to this far in the playoffs. I mean, they're here, so they're a good team. But I think in the end, the experience is gonna win out. So I'm going to take the Cadet.
All right, let's move down to the Region 5 3A Championship 2.0. Sandy Creek and Cedar Grove.
I'll start this one. I'm going to take Cedar Grove. I'm just not sure anybody. They've been number one all year. No one expected them to lose. They haven't lost. I don't see Sandy Creek beating them. It was like a 10-point game last time, or it might not even be that close this time.
I will take Sandy Creek. It's tough to beat a good team twice, and Sandy Creek is really, really good.
But that goes against your thinking that you told us before that in high school it doesn't matter as much. So I'm confused now. Which is it? It's hard to beat a good team twice, or in high school.
Well, listen, I thought that Carver Atlanta would beat Sandy Creek. I really did, and Sandy Creek just pummeled them into the dirt, and so I think that team is playing really, really well right now.
Cedar Grove won by 15 in the regular season. I think Cedar Grove wins again, but I'm taking Sandy Creek plus 10 points, but Cedar Grove to win. So it's going to be closer than 10 points is what I think.
Okay.
Seth.
I'm going to take Cedar Grove as well.
All right.
So
I'm the only one that took Sandy Creek.
No, you're not.
Well, Bo hasn't picked yet.
I'm taking Sandy Creek this week as well.
Welcome on board, Bo.
All right.
Yep. I've always agreed that it's hard to beat a team twice. Sandy Creek's going to win that game.
Okay.
Ware County in 5A versus Warner Robins.
Wow.
This is interesting because Ware County has been the better team all year, but historically, this is the program that hasn't been able to get over the hump in Ware County against the program with the recent championship pedigree here in Warner Robins. So this is a really, really interesting matchup to me.
Warner Robins, I think they've won 2 in a row. They're going for 3 straight. The last team to beat them in the finals was
Buford.
In that crazy overtime
That's
game.
correct. I'm going to go with Warner Robins. I think they, again, kind of like Benedictine that we talked about before. They just have the experience. They know how to get there. They know how to do this. Ware County's.
Well, they both know how to get there because they're there, Jeff.
Great point.
I'll take.
Is that the stat of the week?
I'll
Is
take
that
my
the stat
pick
of the
now.
week?
Jeff's hard stat of the show. I'm going to go with Ware County.
I'm going to go with
Check
Ware
it.
County too. I think they get the monkey off their back. They finally get that championship. They haven't been to the title game, I don't think, since that championship game they lost to Gainesville back in 2012. Am I right about that?
I think that's correct.
I think you're correct.
I'll take Ware County.
I'll go there too. I'll take Ware County.
You're
I
going
am
to.
the only one to take the 2-time defending champs.
Congratulations,
Holy
Jeff.
cow.
Yeah, but I'm taking Ware County, like Jeff mentioned, but I'm going to take Warner Robins to cover the 17. That's way too many points in a state championship game. I think Warner Robins can keep it to 2 possessions.
Okay, Carrollton and Mill Creek. I'm just going to say it. Mill Creek wins this game.
Mill Creek.
Mill Creek.
The 1 point, they're essentially calling this a toss-up game, and Mill Creek has been, just rolling people.
They said that about the North Cobb game too, and we saw how that turned out. I'll take Mill Creek.
Yeah.
Mill Creek by
A lot.
10 points.
Okay.
By a lot.
I think the only reason this is a coin flip game, though, is because Carrollton beat Milton, whatever line of opponents that ended up starting at Buford, where they lost to Walton, who lost to.
Right.
I think that's the only reason that this is a 1-point game. If you look at it on paper, Mill Creek's going to run away with this one.
I think so, too.
Okay, the pick you've all been waiting for, folks. It's Gainesville Hughes, number 3 versus number 1.
Wait, Q's?
Hughes.
Like
Hughes.
Syracuse?
Yeah, Hughes.
Kids.
Hughes.
Huge.
Huge.
It's just a team full of people.
Langston Hughes.
It's just a team full of people wearing the letter Q.
It used to be called Langston Hughes, and now they've shortened it to Hughes.
The GHSA has it listed, if you search for it, Langston Hughes.
Yeah.
So
It's kind of like that Pickens, Gilmer deal. Don't put county.
Right.
Just one name school.
Is that the same? Is that what this is?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. Who wants to start the pick?
I am going last.
You're gonna
I
go
am going
last?
second to last.
Third to last.
All right, so Walker,
you wanna- I tell you
Jeff.
what, we'll let Walker go first.
This is honestly what I think about this game. I think if Gainesville can get off to that hot start that they've gotten off to each game this postseason, that they will be in this game late. If Hughes is able to slow down Gainesville, it could be a long night for the Red Elephants. I think that Gainesville is definitely going to cover the 16 points. That's just way too big of a line for this game, but I'm going to take Hughes to win by a field goal.
Wow, that goes against the special teams aspect that I brought up.
Stat
earlier.
of the show.
That's correct. I agree. Look, Gainesville did not get off to a hot start last week. Roswell took the opening kickoff and just went right down the field and shoved it down their throat. And you're thinking,
yeah, but
boy.
then they rattled off 28.
Well, but they had the kickoff
unanswered.
return. They had the kickoff return that got them going.
I see what you did there.
Yes. Thank you very much.
I see what you did there.
So I don't, I agree with you. If they get off to a slow start and Hughes is able to punch in 1 or 2 touchdowns, it's going to be extremely difficult. Gainesville probably can still score in bunches, but when you start 7 or 14 points behind against a team like Hughes, it's going to be very difficult to come back. I think that they're going to have to be in this game early so they can be in it late. They're going to have to withstand the first, 2 or 3 possessions each and see where they stand. I would love to pick Gainesville. I think Gainesville can definitely win this game. I think there are some variables here that really play well for Gainesville. But I've said all year I didn't think there was a team better than Hughes, maybe in the state, certainly in 6A, and that includes Gainesville as well as they're playing right now. I'm going to take Hughes. I do think it's like Walker. I think it's going to be a close game. I think they can keep it close. But I think Hughes, they've been there before. This entire group was there last year. They probably should have beaten Buford and didn't. They're back. They're more experienced, even more talented. I think it's going to be a tall order for Gainesville to knock off Hughes. I'm taking Hughes, but I expect this game to be closer than I think a lot of people see.
All right, Seth, it's your turn.
Guys, Langston is supposed to win this game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's
They're
very
By
favored.
16, yep.
They're
Sure.
favored, yes.
On paper and on my screen.
We can all also agree that there were a lot of people who didn't think Gainesville would be where they are right now this year.
Probably.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yes.
This smells like an upset special to me. Hot and ready, coming out of the kitchen on a plate,
Wow.
ready for Gainesville to eat.
I can smell it.
I'm picking
Is
Gainesville.
it sizzling like fajitas?
Yes, it is.
No.
It's sizzling
Got some
like
cheese dip with that.
Guys, I'm already hungry. Why are we doing this?
It's hot. It's hot and ready like a Little Caesars, but sizzling like fajitas. So I'm going with Gainesville. I'm
You're
picking
going
Gainesville.
with Gainesville.
All right.
So
All right, Bo, it's
2
to
Hughes
you.
and 1 Gainesville. Look, guys, Coach Nibley comes into the program a year ago, almost to the date, and we're all there watching the opening press conference of Coach Nibley. He comes in. He says he's not here to win games. He's here to win championships. He has changed the complete culture of the program over there. He has got them, and I'm not going to say buy him because Coach doesn't like to use it, trusting in his process at Gainesville. We've seen what they've done in the playoffs. We've seen what they did in the regular season. You talk to some of the players over there, talking to Sky Niblett earlier this week about, kind of getting the correlation between Hoover and Gainesville, players over there, players over here, and Sky, who's involved, who is in the locker room, who is friends with a lot of those teammates. And I asked him, I said, have you seen your dad make the change in the players here at Gainesville? And he said, absolutely. One of the quotes that he said was, before they weren't saying I love you, now we say I love you. This is a true team, guys, a true team that loves each other, and that's because of the message of Coach Niblett and his coaching staff. It's hard for me to pick against Gainesville, and I will not this week. So Gainesville, I think, pulls the ultimate upset in the Class 6A state championship game down at Georgia State Center Park Stadium.
Well, listen, you two have just picked Gainesville, and you've given a lot of kind of emotional reasons for why to pick Gainesville, right? I'm going to pick Gainesville, and I'm telling you a different reason. I'm going to give you a football reason.
Zoom in on Caleb here.
I'm going to give you a football reason why they beat Langston Hughes. Everybody in this room has just said, right, that we think this game is closer than 16 points. We don't think that this is a blowout.
I know where you're going.
Nobody's had the conversation of who does a close game favor.
There it is.
To the stuff that you talked about special teams, I think Gainesville's got the special teams edge by a wide margin. I think Gainesville's got the quarterback edge. And I don't think Langston Hughes wants this game to be close late.
Yeah.
And I think we've all in this room said that we think that's going to happen.
Right.
And I think it's going to happen too. And for that reason, I'm taking Gainesville because this game, if it's close late, everything about the matchup favors Gainesville if it is indeed close late.
Agreed.
Gainesville's got to get it there.
I think that's sound reasoning. It
Gainesville's,
really is.
Gainesville's got to get it there, but I think they're going to, and I think they win it at the end. I'm taking Gainesville.
Listen, I can't argue with that, even though I'm the only reason I'm staying with Hughes is because I've said all year I just
Well, you have to. And you have to.
I have
You've already
to.
taken your finger off the pick. So
No,
Yep.
I know.
Yeah.
No, but I'm just saying I agree with everything you just said. I think this does play for a close game. I think that does favor Gainesville. You know, I did a story you know, about the offense. And we've got stories all over Friday game night about this matchup. You know, great video with Coach Niblett and Sky that Seth and Bo put together, and we've got previews on different aspects. And the one that I wrote about
and live radio coverage tonight.
That's absolutely with Judd, who is one of my favorite all-time play-by-play guys. He is fantastic, and Gainesville fans.
What about Dan?
Huh?
What about Dan?
I like Dan too.
Okay, all right.
I was going to get to Dan. You just didn't give me a chance. We love you, Dan. We do, really. But no, I did one on the offense about
Yeah.
you know, I did a story about, you ain't seen us. And I think you can look at all kind of aspects of this game. You know, the Gainesville offense, Hughes has not seen an offense like that. Gainesville hasn't seen a defense like that. And then when you look at the other matchups, it's going to could be one of the best games of the entire weekend.
I've got one more
champion.
question for
Yes.
you. So all the talk about Hughes, all the stats. I mean,
Right.
because if you look at their stats, it's just crazy.
They're
you look
2
at
points
defensive
from
stats,
setting the state record in points scored.
They're gonna get
number
that record,
one
by the
6A.
way.
They're number
Probably.
one defense in 6A, number one offense in 6A.
Right.
Do you have any inkling that Langston Hughes might be overlooking Gainesville a smidge?
I don't.
And I'm just asking the question.
Maybe, but I don't think it's about Gainesville so much for them. I mean, if you have done what they've done this year, wouldn't you overlook potentially whoever your next opponent happened to be?
Yeah.
Possibly.
I think there's a risk of that happening for Hughes, but I don't think it's anything to do with Gainesville. I think it's everything to do with Hughes and what they've been this year. Now, Hughes has faced a couple of games where they've kind of gotten punched in the mouth here in the playoffs lately by Woodward Academy and by
Right.
Rome. Neither of those teams were able to finish the job.
Right.
So if Gainesville attacks Hughes early, that's not anything to overreact to because it's like I said, this game has got to be close late, and either of these teams getting up 14-0 early is no indication of what could happen over the next 3 quarters because both of these teams are so explosive.
I think everybody here is right. I think it's really about setting the pace and who gets to set the pace and set the feel and tone of the game.
I think that's a big factor. I think you're
Gainesville
right.
opens up with a big return like they've been doing. T-Lander gets himself a nice solid hit to back it up. Energy and pace
I
set.
think what this game comes down to is somebody is going to get off to a hot start. The question to me is whoever is on the bad end of that hot start, does that team have a response in them?
Yep.
To me, that's what this game's about.
So on the radio tonight, you can hear the full pregame interview with Coach Niblett, and I did ask him the question because he said last week after the game that he was not happy with the special teams. I think it was mainly the kickoffs, not going into the end zone. A couple of them went out of bounds on kickoff. So I did ask him about special teams, and before I could get the question finished, he goes, huge, huge, huge. And I think that's the answer to your special teams stat of the day, or stat of the show. So, yeah, special teams is going to be huge. And like you said, Caleb, you give up a long return or you give up a touchdown return, how would you respond? Gainesville so far has been able to respond.
They have, absolutely. You talk about Hughes getting punched in the mouth. Look, that game last week against Rome, it was 14-3 at the half. It was 21-3 going into the fourth quarter. Hughes poured it on in the fourth quarter. So that was a close game. I think the thing about Hughes, like with Gainesville, can you control the run they're going to go on? So that's a key. That's a
two
big
reasons
key.
I don't think that Rome game is applicable to what I said earlier. One, I don't consider 21-3 in the fourth quarter close. If Gainesville's down 21-3 going to the fourth, I don't think they're winning the game. Second off, I'm not talking about going into the fourth quarter. I'm talking about, is this a close game in the last 6 minutes?
17-14.
Right.
21-7. You know.
Look, I think Gainesville, I mean, if you look at the numbers, and let's say Gainesville's defense plays great, and they hold Hughes to half of what they're averaging, that's 28 points. But we've seen Gainesville, you know, they're averaging 44. I really see a game like 42-35. It might come down to 38-35. Gainesville kicks a field goal. I mean, I think there's going to be a lot of points scored in this game. And you know, we're going to be, there's going to be guys that like stats are going to love this one. I see a lot of points scored. You know, but again, how close can they keep it? I think that's going to be the issue. Walker?
Yeah, I think you all are dead on with this. I think the big X factor, though, is the front seven for Gainesville, including Jeremiah T-Lander and everybody else on the defensive line and the linebackers. It's trying to slow down that Langston offense. Like you said, they average over 50 points a game. If they can slow down that offense and not allow them to just march down the field and score at will and be able to get possession after possession after possession, that only helps this Gainesville offense, who's going to have to figure out their way through this Hughes defense because, like you said, they're tops in the class in defense and offense. So I think it's going to take some time for that Gainesville offense to get going. The question is, can the defense that's been bend but not break all postseason, can they continue that against probably the best team, like you mentioned, Jeff, in the entire state of Georgia, not just 6A?
All the things that Gainesville has done well all year, this is the final exam.
Yep.
Like this is like the final exam. This is the final boss of the video game.
Is there
like
a cheat sheet? Can we give them some help?
Everything that Gainesville has faced all season, they're going to face the toughest version of it they've faced yet this game. Like everything Gainesville's done well, the best chance of a team stopping it is going to be the opponent they are facing right now. So this is the final exam.
I think there's one thing that you don't have to worry about from this Gainesville team, and that is 100% effort.
Yeah, that's not going to be a problem.
So one thing we did, we didn't forget, but we always do at the end of the show, our locks of the week.
Let's do it.
Hey.
Last locks of the season.
Caleb and actually Jeff, you'll get to go first since you beat Caleb in the weekly picks there. So you get to go first.
And Jeff's 4-0 in locks in the postseason.
Then Caleb,
You
then Seth, then me.
You say that, Walker, as if you're surprised.
So who gets to pick first?
That would be you, Caleb.
No, I get to go first.
I mean, sorry,
no, Jeff picks first, then
Jeff, you
Seth.
So where are the
No,
lines?
Jeff-
Where did
Jeff-
the lines? Oh, they're just all
Jeff,
scattered in.
Caleb, Seth, me, Walker.
Is it? I thought it went off of Locke's record. Okay.
Wow, this is you know,
Oh, yeah, it does go off Locke's record. My bad.
Man.
Seth, you go second.
Cool.
I tell you what, I'm going to take Mill Creek -1. That might be like the cheesy way out, but 1 point. I mean, if there was one touchdown, I might.
That's what
consider
I said about Appleton County last
Yeah,
week.
yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't see Carrollton beating Mill Creek, but anything is possible. I mean, really, anything is possible. In these
All right,
games.
Seth, you're second.
Gainesville covers at 16 points.
No.
I really wanted to take
No
that.
doubt in my mind.
Well, not bad enough because you didn't take
Yeah.
it.
I know.
Bo Wilson.
Mill Creek -1.
That would be me coming up here next. I'm
I would've
going
taken that
to
one.
go with Sandy Creek.
Plus
10.
Okay.
All right, there we go.
I'm just going with Sandy Creek.
Well, you did. You picked them to win. You might as well get the points with it.
All right. Who's up next?
I don't.
I am going to go. I'm going to go Fitzgerald -3.
That's a good pick.
And just to put it on record, I know these games have already played when this airs. I've got Schley County covering and winning, Prince Avenue covering and winning.
Is it?
So those are the
Is
8
it-
picks that I have.
Is it Sheely or Shalee?
It's Schley, I believe.
Schley.
Is it Schley?
Schley. We were wrong all the way around.
Okay. Well, we tried last week.
Either way, I've got the 2 underdogs winning on Thursday night, and
Okay.
by virtue of that, covering the spread.
Okay.
All right. So then it's to me now, right, for the lock?
Yes, and I took Fitzgerald
Scroll back
-3
down
as my
for me
lock.
there.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Give me Warner Robins +17. I don't see any way that's a 17-point ball game.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to take that one too, but the -1 with Mill Creek, it just seemed like it's a no-brainer. It's a pick 'em.
All right.
That's a wrap, guys.
That's a wrap
That's
for
it.
the season, isn't it?
That is a wrap. Don't forget, coming up, pregame will start tonight about 6:35-ish. AM 550 FM 102.9. The pregame interview with Coach Niblett as well. Then Judd and Dan will have the call of the Class 6A state championship. Seth will be on the sidelines. Video highlights, photos, and more. Jeff, you perched high atop the press box there at Georgia
I'm not
State.
gonna be able to see anything
Yeah,
with the
at
fog.
least you have a
I'm-
better view than the radio
and
team
me and
does.
Bo, and me and
No,
Bo,
I'm gonna be right there next to him.
And
doing
me
stats.
and Caleb out of town.
out of the state.
We gone. We gone.
How did y'all plan that?
Well, we talked about it months ago.
Yeah.
All right. Enjoy the game, though. It's going to be a fun
You forgot
game.
to ask what day it was.
Yeah, I did. That's the way it goes. All right, guys. Go Big Red.
Absolutely. Sorry about that. If they can get the stop it. Yes, stop it.
I knew Bo wasn't going to be able to hold
Where
his
do
peace
we
on
need
that
to?
one.
Where do we need to pick that up?
Oh,
Where do we need to pick
goodness.
that up?
I
Start
don't know
over
how
your
we're going to
stat
cut
of the
away.
Just start the whole segment over?
From the start of the show, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we
From
just
your,
ran
from
the.
your, just, Bo is gone. G-O-N-E gone.
Oh, God.
Bo, I have a legitimate question. Do you think you could have survived had I not started laughing?
Maybe.
Maybe. That's just. Jeff, he might have had a chance if Jeff didn't try and correct it himself. Okay,
my gosh.
we're gonna cut everything right now.
Bo has left the building.